honk, it's Bouncy here. I'd like to welcome you to Clown Bookclub. I spent a lot of my Ko-Fi donations from my amazing supporters on my clowning, and that includes tracking down and purchasing clown books of all kinds, mostly autobiographies. Unfortunately, a lot of clown history and information exists in these books and not online, so I've made it my mission to find and read whatever I can and make the information easily accessible to you, while being able to appreciate and understand the people behind these stories. With that out of the way, let's dive in. Anytime I come across a clown photo from the past, I'm nudged by something in my brain to look for further information about the origins. I've covered the origin stories of popular scary clown photos before on this channel. It seems to be a regular thing for me to fixate on the origins of anything and all things clown related. I guess the story of a photo I'm about to show you and the rabbit hole I found myself in starts with TikTok. You see, TikTok has all kinds of fun photo slides, and it was on one of these photo slides I found a photo of a clown with a bow tie made of two hands. Well, not real hands, but craft hands. This photo is usually accompanied by some text like, "Clown with a bow tie that could strangle you," and he wears very large, human feet-looking shoes. I noticed under the photo of this bow tie guy that there was actually a name, Max Dillae. So of course, I searched that name. Ironically enough, the exact TikTok I had just watched came up, but I also found through a series of searches that this image was from a book called Reveries of a Circus Clown. Unaware of what this book would hold, I ordered it, and when it finally arrived, I realized that it was 1, a book of poems, and 2, actually public domain. The book itself was written in 1914. And upon opening it, I found that there is a photo of the author, and in the very back, there is the photo of Max Dillae as the bow tie clown. And there's also a photo of a soprano singer named Miss Beth Geyer. Underneath it writes, "Of Dillae and Geyer." I wonder if this means the two of them performed together or were in business together, because that seems to be what it implies. But I couldn't find information on either of these two besides their photos in this book and their names. After skimming through the book, I began to wonder what these poems had to do with Bowtie Clown, and then I realized I was being silly because the photo of the author from the beginning of the book is actually the Bowtie Clown. That's Max Dillae.
Wow!
Since this book is public domain, and the only living reminder of this clown's life, I'd like to now read you a few poems and lines that stood out to me from Reveries of a Circus Clown. The book starts out with a preface. To those dear friends who have shared with me the joy and toil, the honors and disappointments of the sawdust ring are these pages dedicated. Between the lines may be disclosed the unspoken things only intimate association can reveal. If they serve to recall an incident long forgotten, to uncover a hidden memory, to bring back the clasp of a comrade's hand, or even to prove but a pleasant companion in leisure moments, they have served well the author's purpose. I love this preface because it definitely hints that Max poured a lot of memories between him and his friends into these poems that only they would understand. We will probably read over these lines and never know the intimacy they contain. It's nice to know that at the time, these were poems he made for him, his friends, and workers of the circus, or the sawdust ring. The term sawdust ring refers to the sawdust that is put up by the circus to make it easier to clean up after all of the animals. As for the poems inside Reveries of a Circus Clown, most of them detail Max's love for the circus and how he can't ever let it go, that being a circus performer was his way of life, and that he missed it and his friends when he was away from it. This is the most evident in the poem The Circus Fever, where he compares working for the circus as catching a type of fever that makes you incapable of working anywhere else. You simply love it too much to let it go. It goes as follows. They may talk of fever, chills, and 1,000 other ills that go to make the doctor's human code. But the worst I know of yet, makes a fellow fuss and fret, is the hopeless, restless fever of the road. There's the sawdust or the bark, when you're in City Park, with a million funny, friendly circus smells, and the wagons red, gold, and white, hard to find a prettier sight. Once you've worked there, why, you won't want to work nowhere else. They may have their rainy days, when the wind with canvas plays, and your clothes all take a tumble off the line. But the music of the band, when you're marching through the sand, to me is like the joy of rare old wine. And I love the busy lot, when the day is boiling hot, with the teams and bulls and hustlin' crews and the bunch all telling yarns of their orange and chicken farms, while nobody ever seems to have the blues. There's the public steady pour, crowding through the big front door, the lions and the elephants a-weaving to and fro, and the ticket seller's speech as he hands you 2 best seats, and the boys all getting ready for the show. There's the usher's friendly smile as he shows you up the aisle, and the band whose music charms I must confess. We're in the land of harmony, and all as happy as can be. It's as soothing as mother's soft caress. When the bugle calls the chase, and another's in my place, and I'm far beyond the reach of discipline, when I've closed the tailor trunk, and I'm missing from my bunk, and the wardrobe too is missing from the line, when I've made my last parade, and I'm 'neath the willow shade, and the boys, they miss me when they pass the cup around. Not what am I here for, but I'll walk right in the door and get a job in Hades acting clown. One theme I've noticed from this small book of poems is that friendship both far and wide were themes Max experienced working in the circus, and that he loved the circus so much he'd want to be there even in death. If anyone has ever heard the song The Black Parade by My Chemical Romance, this next poem reminds me a lot of that song. Max is describing a final parade. The faint, soft sound of a bugle, I imagine I can hear, a harbinger of the circus parade to all of us so dear. They're coming round the corner now, those dapples, beauties, everyone. Now listen to the jolly throng, make selections just for fun. The band, a real big circus band, with musicians by the score. They play overtures and rags all day, and then we wish they'd still play more. The massive dins of gold and white are next to fall in line, with the lions and the tigers fierce, with coats so sleek and fine. The clown band next appears, with salsa jesters, fat and lean. They almost play a tune sometimes, and say a lot of things they never mean. The elephants are coming now. Gracious, 41 you say? The largest in captivity, and a baby 1-year-old today. There are brunettes, blondes, and titans too, from every clime we know, with jeweled gowns and feathers tall, with this world's greatest show. The monkeys are now passing, our ancestors, they say. Without the monk, the clown, and bull, there'd be no show today. The calliope brings up the rear, as usual we all know, playing Dixie and the popular airs, and we follow it to the show. There are also a few poems that hit on other notes of performances. One poem talks about a performer who is too full of himself to realize that if he quits, the circus will still go on, that he's not special, and the circus will endure without him. Another talks about and describes the different types of lots in the cities they set the circus up in, from San Francisco to Maine. There's also a poem called When the Circus Season is Over that describes what it's like after working a full season in the circus and coming home to your wife. But at the end it mentions how the performer himself wishes he could be in the theater performing as a Broadway star and not as a circus clown. I wonder if deep down Max wanted to have been a Broadway star and never truly was able to break through into the competitive world that Broadway is, being set into an endless wheel of poverty that almost all circus workers were subjected to. The book ends with the poem, Who Should We Notify?, which is about a jockey who worked in the circus injuring himself, and when he becomes conscious, the doctor asks him, who should we notify? But all the man's friends are all over the world because he was a circus performer, and all the people that this man knew and loved were all over. So the poem just goes on to describe different people the man knows and the different places they reside, and that's the main takeaway. It's another reminder that circus performers were constantly on the move and had a vast network of friends from all over the country. I think it's a pleasant ending to the series of poems. So what do we know about Max now? He was a clown in the circus who published his poems with a soprano singer named Beth Geyer in 1914. He did all kinds of circus shows, and it was his life. He knew people from all over and worked very hard and could never shake his circus fever. I guess he wasn't the clown with a bow tie that could strangle you after all. He was a clown who was writing poems about his life experiences and his one great love, the circus. Bye-bye!